So let's continue with sustainable and eco-friendly clothing. Discover practical solutions for integrating sustainable and eco-friendly clothing into yacht crew wardrobes. This session covers innovative fabrics, durable designs, and brands committed to reducing environmental impact. Learn how to choose clothing that supports marine conservation while ensuring style and functionality on board. Hi, guys. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Why don't we take the opportunity and Oceanform, take the floor. Can you guys introduce yourselves and even introduce the company?
Yeah, my name is Julie. This is my business partner, William, and we are the founders of Oceanform. We provide the industry with modern uniform solutions where we are taking pride in just getting something new to the industry, challenging the outdated designs, and setting a new standard for quality and performance.
Couldn't have said it better. Yeah.
My name is Lauren Wardley. I'm the owner and founder of Ethical Yachtwear, a sustainable crew uniform company. We started in 2019, and we're on a mission to give back to our beautiful industry and give back to our beautiful oceans, which make the industry so possible.
Can you guys start, Oceanform, starting with you, what led you to start this journey and creating your clothing uniform company?
Yes, so we're former crew ourselves. So 2 years ago, we started developing Oceanform because as crew on board, we wanted to create something different and to introduce the industry to modern design. And as I said before, set a new standard, trying to solve all the issues we were experiencing on board with uniforms. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it sort of all stems from, crew and owner preferences. So everything's sort of been designed with, and yeah, I think, we all sort of drove by frustration really in our example. And that's sort of what led us to do our own thing. Yeah. And we launched in January. So we've had 8 months of sales, so to speak. And yeah, it's going really well. We're having a really good reaction from everybody. So yeah.
Lauren, also, what led you to start your company?
Yeah, sure. So I also was crew and long mundane days in laundry room and constant business podcasts and listening. And I really wanted to make an impact myself. And then, so Four Oceans Bracelets and Tom's Shoes just started to emerge at the time. I don't know, probably the audience have heard of at least one of the companies. And they're social give back business models. So Tom's Shoes gives a pair of shoes to kids in Argentina so they can go to school. Four Oceans Bracelets started and they started raising money for ocean conservation. And I really wanted to make my own sort of social impact. So I started selling organic cotton t-shirts to raise money for ocean conservation. And then Dock Walk found out about my little company that I was doing from my cabin on my last boat. And they wrote an article about my t-shirt company raising money for ocean conservation. And basically they wrote the article. And as soon as the article came out, boats started asking me how could they use my t-shirts for their crew uniform. And at first, I really liked my logo I'm creating. I really just wanted to raise money for ocean conservation. And then I thought, what a cool idea. There's a demand for better quality, sustainable uniform. And I was like, absolutely. And those clients that started with me back then are still with me today. And it's just been such a beautiful journey of trying to change the industry for the better, really.
I am definitely going to give a shout out to Holly Overton from Dockwalk because that's how both of you or both companies are here on the forum. Thankfully, she has been keeping an eye on for emerging companies and those of them are pushing forward on sustainability and better practices for the environment. So big shout out to Holly there.
Yeah, I think we'll second that. Thank you, Holly.
Let me start with Oceanform. What are some innovative sustainable fabrics currently available and the ones that you are using?
So we use recycled polyester and recycled polyamide. Recycled polyester, which is made from plastic from the ocean, and recycled polyamide, which is made from fishing nets from the ocean. And that just makes complete sense for us because it's the most durable fabric you can get your hands on. It's super lightweight, stretchy, moisture wicking, has all the properties a crew needs. And also in terms of washing, it holds dye very well, so it doesn't fade in color.
Yeah, second to that, polyamide was actually invented as a sort of a synthetic silk. So it's super comfortable for everybody. Its natural elasticity is really good for uniform. It's extremely durable, as Julie mentioned.
naturally wrinkle-free as well, which is important for the laundry girls as well. And it doesn't shrink in the wash. So that's the two fabrics that we really enjoy using.
Yeah, and just on the recycled polyamide there, 46% of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch is made from nets that are in the ocean. So we're doing our bit by putting those out of the ocean and turning them back into something that can be used again and again for many years to come.
Lauren, how about you? Are you using the same, or do you have other materials that you prefer for your clothing?
Yeah, very similar. They just highlighted some really important factors. We use a combination of organic cotton and recycled polyester. So organic cotton, so we don't use any pesticides or fertilizers. The cotton industry is one of the biggest creators of dead zones in the ocean, and through the pesticides and fertilizers that run off from the cotton farms. So we make sure we use organic cotton, so we don't need to have the pesticides, the fertilizers, we don't kill the sea life. And we use recycled polyester because polyester, original form, is made from petroleum, which is a non-renewable resource, obviously. So we use recycled, so we're not introducing any more new material onto the planet, but also not the demand on the fossil fuels. And so both the fabrics we use are sort of hugely beneficial environmentally to the planet. Absolutely, very similar.
I see Ogo is backstage, but I'm going to give him a time to get settled in. If I'm new to what to look out for uniforms, how do I identify as crew which ones are the right ones if I don't know yet the company names? I don't know. Oceanform, if you want to take.
Well, I think we agree on that. The most important thing is to have 100% transparent supply chain and to do your research when you are looking for brands. And don't be afraid of asking the uniform brands. I think for us, one thing is to work with recycled fabrics. Another thing is, where you produce, where your fabric is produced, how, are you treating your fabrics? How are they treated? Is it with eco-friendly finishes or with, harmful chemicals? Where
is it produced? The legislation in that area, what sort of laws and regulations you're dealing with.
Yeah.
But as you said, if you don't know yourself, I think the best way to do it is when you're doing that initial inquiry, you're asking your minimum quantities for your vessel or whatever it might be, but just simply ask, what are your environmental.
And also look for maybe the fabric that we just mentioned and Lauren mentioned, polyester and polyamide, because they are very durable and works perfectly for uniforms. So
that's the best way.
Lauren, I'm going to change that question a little bit for you, but how have you received the yachting crew community? I just don't know if they're knowledgeable or not, or are they aware enough to go through the research? Is that enough for them to go out there and find them themselves, or can they rely? Is there an icon, or like you were just mentioning? Well, at least we know that this fabric is the one that we definitely don't want to not have on board, and this one is. How do you simplify that for crew, Lauren?
For Ethical Yachtwear, we're sort of like a multi-faceted company. So we do a lot of education. And so really that's the point in essence. I didn't know a lot about clothing before I got in the clothing industry or fell into the clothing industry through the Organic One t-shirt company. And, I was lucky enough to be able to do a lot of research, but we also operate with a lot of education. So we do seminars, we get in all the boat shows, we try and disseminate that information through the yachting community so they have the educated opinion or information to make better decisions when they are choosing. So we're proactive in that in terms of we're not expecting the crew to know. I mean, I didn't know, but that's why we are trying to put out as much information as possible. And so crew have the information, so then they're equipped with what they need to be making those decisions.
Thank you. That's definitely the workshops, getting the word out there, and platforms like Dock Walk obviously definitely help. If I was crew or Stu, I did do it very little, not career, like probably the people on this call. I think my first question would be, is it as durable as my other clothing? Is it going to be as comfortable because I am using it as a uniform? And lastly, is it easily accessible? Because I do know, like, for example, with the med seasons coming, I just need product immediately. So is it the same? I don't know who wants to take that question.
Yeah, I mean, I think that in terms of durability, again, it's down to the material, the finishes that are involved. Again, using recycled polyamides, recycled polyesters. Recycled polyamide is actually, in fact, stronger than recycled polyester. That's why they use it for fishing nets in the nylon, which is then turned into that recycled polyamide.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then in terms of finishes as well, I mean, we use eco-friendly finishes as well, which actually enhance that durability even more. Yeah.
Yeah, and no,
that's about it. Yeah.
That's right. And I think it's kind of misunderstood, like that you can't have the durability and a sustainable uniform. I think as crew, like they need to realize as well, like you don't have to compromise. You just need to find a brand that prioritizes both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mom, we're in luck. Ugo is here. He's going to join us, and I'm going to hop off.
Hey guys, sorry about that. Time changes are always, it's all good. As crew, I have a lot of questions about Ethical Yachtwear. Not just the company name, but actually, the concept of green and going green in terms of uniform. I wanted to ask, what's the biggest issue that you're seeing in terms of adaptation? I imagine what I think is for some people price, or we've been doing it the same way, but I'd love to see, what kind of infiltration you're getting into the market, and also just what response are you getting back? Is it overwhelmingly positive, like, hey, we've been waiting for this all along? Or is it like, hey, the owner doesn't really see, the budget going this way this time? And you can each do it once. If you want to start with Ethical Yachtwear and then go to Oceanform.
Yeah, sure. So to be honest, the only reason I've had Ethical Yachtwear for the last 5 years is because it's been pursued by crew. As I said, I fell into it. I was just trying to raise money for ocean conservation. I never planned to have a uniform company. And if it hadn't been for the demand from the crew, I wouldn't still be here, because I didn't see it as necessarily my career path, but it's just been so overwhelming that crew want to make a better decision and better choice, and the impact that we've been able to create has kept me going. So it's only by demand that we're still in the industry. And then in terms of price, I think you mentioned price, we don't charge anymore, and we never wanted to give crew a reason to say no. So we only tried to price point exactly as every other existing uniform company or similar anyway. And we never wanted crew to use price as a reason to not be able to have sustainable items. So we take less margin. Just put that point really. And I think the only adaptation and issue we come through, and I don't think it's due to sustainability, what it is, I think with clothing, right, it's kind of like jeans, swimwear, skirts. It's really hard to find, say, fits crew well, or enough of the crew well enough to buy that particular shorts or skirts. And then so if you'd like to transition to a different brand, it's quite hard because you've got inventory, you've got stock, 4 out of 5 girls fit a certain model. So it's trying to get our uniform on board and show them that it does fit well and it could be suitable for the crew. And the other thing is crew always or boats have inventory, right? And we're not trying to create more wastage. So we kind of want, their old inventory to run its course before we slowly come on board, I suppose. So yeah, with all that in mind, it's a slow process. I find uniform a slow burning sort of situation to get on board. But once we do, we create such an amazing impact. So it's so worth the slow burn.
That's awesome. Do you find that, and I'll get the Oceanform one in a second, I just had a follow-up. Do you find a certain size range or anything like that has been your bread and butter, where maybe there's enough decision-making power, like let's say in the chief stew, rather than just, the owner's partner or the captain just making the blanket decision to fill in the same boxes last year?
I don't know size range, but I mean, we've had demand from all areas. There's been captains that see articles about us and tell their chief stew, we want to use this company. I've had direct owners be like, you can only use Ethical Yachtwear from now on, which has been really amazing. And then obviously we get a lot of stews as well that just, intrinsically want to do better and see the impact. And, there's a lot more education around plastics and ocean. And if you put the link together, that you could be doing better here. And a lot of crews start to seek the demand for it, for sure.
Awesome. And then the first question for you guys over at Oceanform.
Yeah, no, I think definitely what Lauren said as well, because it wouldn't be a sustainable way, to just get rid of your uniforms you have on board. So transitioning to a sustainable wardrobe, takes time, and you should do it gradually. Look at your current uniforms and what you have and what you're missing. And I think for us as well, even though I think all uniform owners can agree that samples is a bit of a pain, but that is very important. Get your samples on board, test them out, try them out. And, because that's a way of, try them on and you can feel that it's no difference to, uniforms that are not eco-friendly.
No, that's it. And I think, again, on the second question, the sizing, I don't think you need to compromise on that. There's brands out there like like us both, we're doing all sizes. Our dresses come in tall lengths, regular lengths. So we've actually got 10 sizes for just one dress, or even more than that, perhaps. But yeah, so anyway, you shouldn't have to compromise. Yeah, there are good companies out there doing
good work.
Yeah,
No, that's great, and it's good to know. What would you say for, like, I'm sure there's going to be crew that are listening here that aren't the decision maker, right? That they know that decision of what uniform company we're using is outside of their hands. Besides, running a uniform into the ground where it's patchy, it's got holes in it. What are some like low hanging fruit for crew to use the stuff that they have now, or how can they get that second life out of it, or what's the best way that they can be as green as possible if they don't have the opportunity to immediately jump on board now with what you guys are offering? I'll start with the Oceanform.
Yeah, no, I think, as I said before, look at what you have on board, because we're not, no one is interested in more ways. So look at what you have on board and what you're missing for uniform pieces. And I think as well, all boats need stock, extra stock for, crew members and all of that. But I think that should be, rethought, and you don't need unnecessary stock on board. And I think, that's as well as our job to advise that.
Yeah, and to look after what you have, check your wash labels. You don't need to be doing those really long washes on hot temperatures. Again, with these sort of new synthetic fabrics like recycled polyamide, recycled polyester, they're naturally wrinkle free anyway. Hang dry them. You don't need to go in a tumble dryer using all that energy. There's lots of ways, and generally all that information is widely available on websites and on the care label. So always check the care label.
That's good advice probably for everyone, including the laundries too. I've just been on so many boats that you get there, especially at the beginning, and you can see just tubs of uniform in the bilge, and it breaks your heart knowing there's like $20,000 worth of uniform there. It's probably outdated, or it's sat long enough that it's not in the condition they thought it was now. The owner's getting a new bill, and then they're going, well, I thought we just bought uniform. And I know it's a touchy subject for so many people.
Yeah, I think, some uniform brands, we just started, so that's still something we work on. But, hopefully some of the uniform brands, if you have stock, they have take back programs to take it back. And if not, I think we'd suggest to give it another life in another way, like donating the clothes. Super Yacht is traveling all around the world, and there is people that would be very happy to get some clothes. So I think, give it a second life if you can't use it on board anymore.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice. And probably for not even just uniform, there's so many aspects of our industry that we have excess. I know sometimes, especially with food, it's a little bit difficult because it spoils, but with uniform, that's a really good idea. Lauren, I wanted to ask you a little bit more about the plastic bank relationship that you have. Sorry if you've already spoken about it a little bit, but I was really intrigued by that, and also just your inspiration from Tom's. As a former Tom's wearer, while I was backpacking around the world, I've always had that brand near and dear. So it's cool that also helped inspire to where you are right now.
Yeah, sure. I'll just backtrack a little bit. We do take back on the US side. We're not set up for Europe just yet, but we do take back. We're also partnered with a company where we actually recycle some of the clothing and things, and we create the boat show equipment and all sorts of cool stuff. So that's something we do on the UN side. But moving forward with the plastic bank, so we actually just announced this week that we funded the removal of 1 million plastic bottles from the ocean. So it's just been released yesterday, and trying.org. I think there's about 8 different publications coming out of, because we operate on a 2-part system. So not only through the polyester that we use, that we incorporate, like I said before, fishing nets, plastic bottles into the recycled plastic clothing, but we also give a percentage of our profit since we started to a company called the Plastic Bank. And like you said, Tom Shoes was a huge inspiration to give back business model. I really wanted Ethical Yachtwear to work on a circular business model, and to us it made sense to give back to the oceans. And the Plastic Bank is a really amazing company. I did a lot of research on who I wanted to give the percentage of our profits back to. And they basically pay people in poor coastal communities to pick up plastic as jobs. So it's reducing poverty, and it's also reducing plastic. So we've been helping support them since 2019 now. And so through funding with them and through the recycled plastic in our shops, we've just made the 1 million plastic bottle mark now, which is really cool. And the Plastic Bank's great. I just love the way they did the help poverty as well as the plastic. So it just made a lot of sense to me to do it that way.
Right. That's awesome. And I'd love to ask both of you too, with super yachting sometimes being so under the radar and people having a lot of heated opinions about it, whether it's the lavishness of it or the waste or so many things. Have you gotten any pushback from people saying, oh, this is great, you're going green, but this industry is completely the opposite? So like, are you kind of polishing a turd, so to speak? Or what are your thoughts on that? I'd love to hear from, the actual business owner.
Yeah, well, I think, the fashion industry and the yachting industry is not the best cocktail, but I think everyone just appreciates that you are doing, something that's better for the planet. And yeah, of course, like you have the comments, but as soon as you explain what you do, I think you kind of,
exactly.
It's not really a thing anymore. And
yeah, no, I totally agree. I think, at least, super yachting's not going anywhere. The richer are getting richer. The industry is growing by 20% a year. And therefore, all these little changes that we can bring on board in a more environmentally conscious way, that 1% each time adds up to many percents. And yeah, I mean, just on the 1% thing, as a company ourselves, we actually donate 1% of profits to marine conservation projects all over the world.
yeah,
So yeah, I think there's lots of brands like Ethical Yachtwear and ourselves where we're tackling the client side of things with our environmental products, but we're also doing good with the money that we're from those clients. So yeah, it's about us to try and do what we can.
Yeah, I think that's 100% the way too. Lauren, anything that you want to add or touch on that, what your experience has been?
Honestly, I've had one Instagram comment since the beginning about something like the irony between sustainability and yachting, and I just said thank you for your feedback and didn't think twice about it. I mean, for me, it's so important to just give back and do better, and if people don't see it that way, then that's unfortunate, I guess.
Right. Yeah, I agree for sure as well. Do you see, let's do with Oceanform, the future of this, let's say a few years down the line, do you see yourself having like more of a physical presence? Is online the way to go because it's green and, it's just inherently green by not having employees, a roof and stock, you're sitting there? Or do you see a world where maybe you've got a showroom or something like that for people to at least come on and try?
Yeah.
well, I think for us also producing in Europe, like I think the idea of having a showroom is actually not a favorite idea. Like we like to educate our clients and trying to advise them the best we can, obviously online, but meet them also at yacht shows. And also with warehouse stock, I think it's important to mention that we do not have an excessive stock because we want to do everything on pre-order. So we make sure that we don't have dead products sitting around and getting wasted.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And again, travel, like for us, I think we only attend 2 shows a year currently, which is Palma, and we attend Monaco. So we ourselves try and keep those air miles down.
Yeah.
And as a company, we produce, from yarn to end packaging, we're producing within 50 kilometers of each each supplier in Portugal. So, and then when we're producing in Portugal, we're only, 1,000 kilometers away from our clients in the south of France. So yeah, it's all about reducing air miles, doing what we can as a company to just be as efficient as possible.
Green as possible.
Yeah.
That makes sense. In the yachting environment that can be so, you owe me this yesterday and rush, do you find that sometimes isn't congruent with your goal? Like I can imagine many a captain saying, hey, let's expedite this thing. I need it here now, and really putting those kind of expectations on you. What's your experience?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, and that's the thing, we launched kind of after everyone had ordered uniforms for the Met season. So the orders we have been getting is like mid-season, you want it now. But I think we just tried to prepare ourselves for that, have the fabric in stock, and we only had a couple of weeks delivery. So yeah, we're just trying to bring down the lead time as good as we can while still being as sustainable as we can.
Awesome. That's the best you can do. And Lauren, if you want to touch on either question or how your experience has been.
Yeah, sure. So physical shop wise, I don't have any intentions of physical shop. We have 8 distributors worldwide set up, so we don't need to really have a shop so far, which is really cool. And then in terms of what was the inventory? We do hold inventory. We hold inventory in Fort Lauderdale and Belgium. It's already pre-set up, so it doesn't have to go very far from either side logistics team to get to a boat, and we can pretty much turn around within 48 hours. But we did make the decision to only hold stock of the items that people want. So when we run out, we restock. And yeah, so we're not operating with thousands and thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars of worth of stock in a warehouse,
Right.
but we do have enough where people can meet the demands of the industry, basically.
So I got a question here that comes up. What companies think about the microplastics that come out of every wash of recycled polyester? Yeah, microplastics are a huge topic. I'm in no way aware of what I might have in my laundry machine and what I'm putting back on when that stuff starts rubbing out. What do you guys think about that? Or let's do Lauren, because you were just talking. Go ahead.
Sure. So we've just started supplying a part for washing machines that you can equip so it actually captures the microplastics so they don't seep out, because this was a big comment, obviously, for us still using polyester. And it is a known fact that they do produce microplastics. So we've started to look at all the solutions we can provide based on that. So now we have a part where people can purchase and fit a filtration system to any washing machine, basically.
That's awesome. That's great. Speaking of microplastics and synthetics, one question I do have is, I know on a lot of programs, and myself included, being a deck crew member, sometimes the Lulu type of polos that are sweat wicking or like athletic cut, they're really appealing because we get wet so often that we're like, man, it's great to be dry, and that's one of the downsides of having 100% organic cotton. Is that something that you've gotten as feedback, like people asking, hey, what can we get the deck team, or how can this best accommodate while being green? It's really yeah. So sorry, I didn't say who it was. That was for Oceanform. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually one of the reasons why we have chose not to facilitate cotton in our model. We believe that there are many benefits for using synthetic material and recycled synthetic. So yeah, that's one of the reasons for sure.
Yeah.
And okay, sorry. So correct. So Lauren, with your use of cotton, have you gotten that as feedback from some of the crew?
In terms of
Well, just overall, what they were looking for, what they're coming to you at first, they might be coming in with some of these prejudices of, we really love having synthetics because, like I said, they're dry wicking, or they don't trap heat in as much, they don't stay wet as long. So what would your response be to someone that's looking to fulfill, that type of wear, but wants to go the green route?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, we try and offer a sustainable version of anything. So it's like at the moment, crew t-shirts, every boat I've ever been on in the 8 years of yachting that I was in yachting, everybody wore cotton t-shirts for off charter. There is the SPF, obviously, with the water sports and stuff, but generally speaking, it was cotton for off charter for the day wear t-shirts. So with the organic cotton, I mean, we've never really had any, negative feedback. It's just we offer a sustainable version of the cotton shirt that they were wearing already. And then I do get the question quite often with polos more than anything, and whether they should do cotton or polyester. And I always try and just say that's a personal preference, because we can offer the recycled polyester or we can offer the organic cotton. So if they do prefer cotton, it feels a little heavier at times. But then again, there's a lot more breathability, whereas the plastic and polyester tends to trap sort of, I guess, heat within a little bit more is what people have been saying to us. So I always say it's personal preference. What do you prefer? Do you prefer cotton or do you prefer polyester? And then we can offer you a solution to either.
Perfect. And Julie and William, what's exciting you in the green space now, whether it's, with Uniform or, anything else that's popping up and how that's coming into the industry? Because I know, especially when I started, I don't think there was anyone really doing any green anything at the time, or it was really underground. So it is cool to see so many companies popping up. So what's exciting you?
I think within the actual yachting industry itself, I mean, the biggest contributor to pollution is the yachts themselves. So, you've got Fedship pumping out hydrogen fuel cell super yachts now. We've just recently seen that solar power Perino RV, the catamaran. So I think in terms of the biggest polluters, the fact that the shipyards themselves are trying to contribute in a more sustainable way, they're the ones having the biggest impact, let's be honest. So yeah, I think that's kind of an exciting space.
Yeah, and I think for us, it was not really an option not to be sustainable from the beginning. Like, even though we know that's something you do like gradually sometimes, and like, after a couple of years, you then, move your production to Europe or like use recycled materials. Like, we wanted to do it right from the beginning. We didn't want to compromise on anything. That has been the rule. And no compromises. We rather wanted to take that extra time to develop perfect products. So we're just trying to be as sustainable as possible. And that's obviously super exciting because as, Crew, just, 1.5 years ago, we saw like from owner that it was, that was the main requirement it was
almost like a panic situation with a previous vessel that we were on. It was, how can we do this? How can we be more sustainable? Crew, what can you guys do? What can we do as owners? And I think the reality is setting in for a lot of owners and their reputation as well. So yeah, it's a widely known issue, and I think it's really important that we're all contributing to it.
You bring up a good point with even the reputation of the owner being at play, because that's one of the first things you see on any of those news articles when they are blasting about how certain yachts are sitting there burning so much fuel, anchored outside of Monaco or whatever. They're very quick to say the owner's name. So you're right. Having a sustainable yacht, sustainable in certain aspects for sure would help the credibility and help offset some of that. Do you see, where do you see the industry going to be as sustainable as you'd like it? Like what kind of time frame are we looking till we're at all, so we can feel good about what's sailing around and what materials are being used, everything from the uniform to the supplies. Are we looking at like a 100-year goal, a 50-year goal? Do you see a 25-year goal? Yeah, that was still for you guys. I was just following up with what you were saying.
I think it's obviously difficult to say. And I think, as sustainable as anything can be, is it the excessive nature of super yachts? Is that where it becomes unsustainable forever? Or I don't know. Yeah, it's a difficult one. But I think as long as we can all incorporate as much as we can, sustainable products on board.
Yeah. And I think to do better, because I think it will, it will take a while for the industry to be, 100% sustainable. But I think, just as Crew as well to, feel better because, you're using eco-friendly products on board and like uniforms. And we also experienced that with our 1% for the ocean, where we talk to our clients, what non-profit organization they want to donate to. They feel a part of something bigger. Feel like they're actually making a difference. And as we talked about before, it is also a lot about branding. So yeah. I think we're going in the right direction.
Yeah, I think that's very well said. I don't know if the super yachting will go 100% green, but it is up to us to definitely chip away at every part, right? Because if we've got, I don't know, even 100 something thousand crew out there and we're all doing our part, it's much better than if we were doing the alternative.
Exactly.
Lauren, would you like to give us some parting words of what you think, where everything's going, how you feel about it, and just give us the last chance of what Ethical Yachtwear stands on and everything?
Yeah, I'm super excited. I mean, like when I started Ethical Yachtwear, it was such a foreign concept, like yachting, sustainability, and the community that we've sort of, founded and been part of especially the last couple of years. Like almost every person on these eco talks the last 2 days, we've either engaged with, worked with, come together with in one way or another. And that in itself is so exciting, because that just means that the sustainable community is all coming together. And the more we come together, the bigger push we have, the better we can do. So it's like, I mean, even from these talks right now, it's like, how cool, this wasn't like a common thing a couple of years ago. And it's just really exciting. And I love working with all the people on the eco talks. And I love working with like all the other people who are very like-minded to do better. And I'm so excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, well said as well. Well, I commend both not both companies, all three of you, for paving the way and being so passionate about something that, you very easily could have left, right? We all work in yachting, and it could be very easy. You want to go chase some other get-rich project or, maximize profits. And yeah, I'm not going to take a loss. I'm actually doing something good for the planet. So it's great that you're pricing competitively and just how grounded you are about the topic, right? And knowing that you're going the right way and that it might take a little bit, it might take a lot of educating for your customers, but it is what we need to do as Crew. And I think that's really commendable and it's really inspiring. So thank you guys for, all of the information that you've given. Where can people find you? Basically, oceanform.com and ethicalyachtwear.com and social media?
Social media, all of the social medias. We're actually going to start doing a bit of TikTok, which is a bit foreign to me, but we'll try it. So yeah, no, we're all on social media and obviously our website. Yeah, you can find us there.
Awesome.
absolutely.
And Lauren?
Yeah, exactly. ethicalyachtwear.com, the social media, LinkedIn. LinkedIn's a really good one. But yeah, exactly.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, I think they're about to shut the curtains on us because I think we've run over, but thank you so much, guys.